It is overwhelming to think about the amount of context and subtext that went into the first time Finnick talked to Katniss. There's so much more going on than sugar cubes. Let me break it down for you. And this is all canon to the books. When Finnick first approaches Katniss to talk to her before the opening ceremonies, he has many objectives to accomplish, and he needs to be playing to multiple audiences at the same time. At this point, Finnick knows there's a rebel plan going on. He doesn't really have much information. He doesn't know exactly what he's doing, but he knows that Katniss is at the center of this plan. This is his first time getting to speak with her. And when he's doing this, there's a lot of people watching. He has Capitol people and all the other victors. He's putting on a show right now. So Finnick has his public persona to play up here. In the Capitol, he is known as being a seductress. He's the flirty, suave man. Like, that's how Katniss knows him from just seeing coverage of him from his games and as a mentor. We, the reader, if you've read the whole series, you know there's more to Finnick, but that is his persona. So he needs to interact with Katniss in the way that everyone would expect him to, but he still wants to be able to work in rebellious subtext and hints and gather information while he's doing this. Let's break down this whole sugar cube scene, shall we? Finnick walks right up to Katniss and his eyes are inches away from her. He is up in her face. And while he's doing that, he pops a sugar cube in his mouth. He's doing also like a classic flirting thing of like drawing attention to your mouth. And with him eating the sugar cubes, he's kind of going outside of Capitol norms here. This wouldn't be seen as polite and correct. I feel like that shows a little bit of his personality to Katniss. He's a little rebellious. He'll do what he wants. And the way he acts so familiar with Katniss as if they've already met, seems like he's trying to gain a little bit of dominance here. Taking charge of the conversation. He's getting close to her to try to throw her off balance. He's playing a lot of different games here. He offers her some sugar, subtext of that also. It's like affection that he's offering. He comments that basically they don't have a lot of time left, so they should have something sweet while they can. He's saying, oh, we're gonna die soon, right? But he's saying in a way that isn't like overtly rebellious or treasonous. Katniss sort of volleys back with the sarcasm. She's a little demeaning to him. She sarcastically asks if she could borrow his outfit sometime, which is basically just like a loincloth covering his privates. She's subtly calling out that she knows he's the playboy, he's the harlot of the Capitol. When Finnick asks her what happened to her pretty little girl dresses, that also sort of signals he knows what's going on somewhat. He knows she has a persona to uphold. And after he asks that, he sort of licks his lip, and there's this huge foreshadowing moment because when he does that, Katniss says it reminds her of her old peacekeeper Cray, who used to take advantage of poor, starving, desperate young women, give them some coins for the pleasure of their company. It's like something in her gut knows Finnick is kind of in that situation, but also the way he licks his lips, it's like something maybe he picked up from the people who took advantage of him. Interesting parallel here. It's not there by accident. Finnick says how she would have made out like a bandit in the Capitol, you know, jewelry, money, anything she wants, alluding that she would be a playboy just like him. But then she asks him, what do you do with all of your riches? And this is when we get a real moment from Finnick. He says he hasn't dealt with something as common as money in years. He prefers to be paid in secrets. And when he says this about the secrets, he is nearly kissing her. He's right up in her face, so they're whispering, and this gives them a cover so they can talk really quietly and maybe say some things that they don't want anyone else to hear. And he asks her, do you have any secrets for me? He's giving her a chance to say something that maybe she knows about the rebel plan or anything, but she doesn't. She actually blushes at this point. She's finally fully embarrassed, but she holds her ground. She whispers back that she's an open book and that everyone seems to know her secrets before she knows them herself. And Finnick says, unfortunately, I think that's true. And that big secret that he knows is that she's at the center of a rebel plot and is supposed to be like the face of the rebellion. And their exchange comes to an end when Peeta's approaching, and then Finnick says, oh, I'm sorry to hear about your wedding. I know how devastating that must be for you. Very much hinting that he does not believe that they were really together. And he eats another sugar cube and walks away. So here are Finnick's objectives when he walks into this conversation. He needs to start building a relationship with Katniss and needs to build some trust, because he knows in some way or another he needs to be helping her in these games and protecting her. And Finnick can use his like usual tactics of flirtation to build this trust and sort of break down her barriers, or at least he's going to try to. He can also gather a lot of info on Katniss based on her reaction to him flirting with her. He's getting an idea of her faithfulness or just feelings towards Peeta. And if Finnick looks back at Katniss's 74th Hunger Games, Peeta was able to earn her trust by expressing romantic interest in her. So Finnick could theoretically be trying to do that too. And the flirting is also part of this hazing and teasing that the other victors are doing to Katniss, because she's younger than all of them and she seems kind of inexperienced and prudish almost. And I think they would haze any new victor, honestly. But Finnick, as an undercover rebel, he's not just teasing her for the hell of it. And in this mocking way he's talking to her, he's also able to get an idea how he would need to interact with her in the arena if they were allies. So can he be the obvious leader and like dominant alpha person, or does Katniss need to at least always feel like she's the one leading the way and in charge. Finnick also wants Katniss to get to know him a little bit too. Like, he's alluding to a little bit of a rebellious nature or some depth to him when he talks about gathering information, gathering secrets from people. He cares about intel and knowledge. And Finnick's hinting at what he knows about her, or at least what he thinks he knows about her. Finnick thinks Katniss's persona is just as fake as his. He's known as this promiscuous ladies' man when in reality, he's being trafficked by the president. He thinks Katniss pulled out the berries as a huge rebellious act and not out of love at all. And the secret that Finnick knows about Katniss that she doesn't even know about herself is that she's at the center of a rebel plot. There's a plot to rescue her and make her like the star and figurehead of the rebellion. And she doesn't know that. But he does. Okay, that was a lot. I'm gonna make a part 2 about in the training center when Finnick approaches Katniss again and that whole conversation.